Okay, well, this video is going to be very angry and very fiery because apparently Blizzard has decided to absolutely screw over the most diehard fan base, which is just so insane to me. Why would you actually screw over the people that are trying to give you the most cash? What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and this weekend I've been celebrating my birthday. It's actually coming up on May 7th, but I had some friends come in from out of town and we've all been chilling, and part of the reason for this is that we all wanted to get together and register for Blizzcon 2019. Now, I've never been to Blizzcon, I've never even been to California, but this was going to be my great chance to see a little bit more of America, and of course, actually get a chance to celebrate Blizzard games. I like a lot of Blizzard stuff. Overwatch not so much, but I'm obsessed with World of Warcraft and Diablo. So this was a great opportunity to, of course, see some great cosplay, hang out, kind of, maybe get tipsy and talk about great games, stuff like that. Well, here's what happened that's kind of crazy. After I registered, I was tweeting out about how excited I was for BlizzCon, and a bunch of very nice Twitter followers started warning me not to install the required app. Yes, you heard me correctly, there is a required app to get your tickets this year. So basically the way it works is after you've purchased them online, you'll notice that it's not being done through the Blizzard website. Instead, this year, Blizzard has decided to hire an outside company to handle all ticketing for BlizzCon 2019. And what is this company called? AXS. Now, I've never heard of them before, and I feel like I'm somebody who goes to at least a decent amount of concerts and conventions, so I figured that by now I would have at least heard of them, but it seems like the reason I haven't is because they are a total scam website. So the way this works is that essentially you get your cell phone, you install the app, and then once you have the app, when you get to BlizzCon, there will be a special thing that appears in the app that allows you to get in the door. If you don't have the app, you're not getting in. They've said this very clearly. Now, obviously, we could make the joke of, don't you people have phones? Because that'd be very easy, but we're going to avoid that and actually focus on what's important. Now, initially, a lot of people didn't think anything of this, myself included. A lot of things require an app. It sucks, but that's kind of just the nature of today. But somebody on Reddit was actually smart enough and dug line by line through the terms of service agreements, what you are specifically agreeing to just by installing the app. And what it actually requires is so bonkers. Now, I want to go through it part by part because it just gets increasingly more insane. All right, let me pick up my laptop. Okay, so basically what you're agreeing to if you get this is you are allowing it to see all of your contacts, which means not only the fact that your mom's maiden name may be frickin' Schockelberg, you're actually agreeing to let them see everybody's phone number in case for some reason it wanted to do spam phone calls or sell your phones list, which yes, some companies will actually sell your data whenever they can. But here's the stuff that to me is by far the most dangerous and the most egregious. And yes, I'm using the word dangerous on purpose. They specifically require double location data. Approximate data by basically seeing where you're at in accordance to your nearest Wi-Fi networks, and exact location data via your GPS, which means that if anybody at the company at any time wants to know where you're at, even if you're not at BlizzCon, they have full access to it. Full access at any time, anywhere, any day, just by having the app. You know what? I haven't installed the app yet, but if I had, right this second, this company would know that I'm in this office ripping them a new butthole. Now, the next stuff is definitely the part that offends me the most, and honestly kind of creeps me out, which is that they require full access to your camera, its ability to take pictures, and also the pictures and videos that have already been snapped. Yes, that is correct. So I'm not saying that maybe you took some like sweet lewds and you're going like this. Those pictures are now fully and legally accessible by the company. Now, I know what some people are saying, okay, just because they can do these things doesn't mean they will do these things, right? Here's my issue. companies that a lot of times try and harvest data, or a lot of times see stuff in different parts of your cell phone, do utilize it in some form. Now, perhaps there's not a guy in an office who's going to be looking at your nudes, but they may in fact actually be trying to look at this to gather further information about you. Maybe they're actually going to sell your data by actually scanning them and seeing how many pictures did the person take at BlizzCon, how many pictures did they take in front of World of Warcraft stuff, and then they could sell that data to other advertising companies. And yes, this absolutely does happen. This is not some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. These companies use algorithmic stuff like this all the time to detect everything they can, because this information is extremely valuable. There's an old saying that says, if something doesn't charge you, then you are the product. Like Facebook, it doesn't cost any money to use. MySpace doesn't cost any money to use, because they're selling this information to marketing firms who pay millions of dollars for it. Now let's move on to the next thing. Now, this stuff is where it gets a little bit more creepy. So it requires to be able to see your Wi-Fi connections, which means that it can see not only where you're at right now, but it could actually trace where you've been. Because a lot of times, every single Wi-Fi connection actually has some sorts of coordinates attached. Even if it's not like you accessing a Starbucks Wi-Fi or a Target Wi-Fi, it can still tell through telemetry data where you've been, which means that if you randomly took a trip up to Toronto, Canada, and then zipped over to Washington and came back to good old Texas, well, then they are still able to not only see this, they're able to track and chart your course. Once again, very valuable data to sell. If somebody's got enough money to fly around all over the world, that's a person who's going to pay more for advertising information. Now, I want to actually blow through a lot of this last stuff here. This is the stuff that they consider like the less important. It's kind of more buried in the terms of service, but brace yourself. In my opinion, this is the stuff that is by far the most creepy. This app requires, and it's why I'm considering it almost spyware, it requires that it be able to receive data from the internet without your permission, which means that it can install stuff without asking. It can get network connection information, which means that if for whatever reason there was like a Blizzard Wi-Fi internet, it could actually force you to connect to it even if you didn't want to. It can make it where it can automatically connect itself with Bluetooth devices, which means that, so theoretically if you connected it up to your Bluetooth camera or something, this device can not only see it, but it can read all that data and possibly even activate that stuff, meaning that if you have like a paired headphone that's not on right now, it can activate it for whatever reason it may need. It actually requires full network access, which means that whenever it wants, it can just see which of your internet connections is actually there and connect to it if it wants. Here's one that perhaps makes me the most worried and creeped out, which is that it can prevent your device from sleeping. Now, this is of course going to cause a giant drain on your battery life if for some reason it's trying to keep your phone on, but additionally, this is a creepy thing because it means that it is able to track your data when you're purposely trying to make sure nothing is on. Basically, there are a lot of times background applications and stuff that are doing things that are more innocuous, more in the background, and this is basically making it where if it wants, it can stop it from ever entering full sleep mode. That way it can see the background information a lot more efficiently. It can also do stuff like read your battery statistics to be creepy and see how much you're like, I let my phone run dead all the time because I'm dumb. This could actually get access to it. It can also see your Bluetooth settings. It can see network access. It can run at startup. So even if you don't want this app on, it can activate itself. It can control the vibration. So for whatever reason, even if you have push notifications off, it could actually activate it against your will and start vibrating you because just to get your attention and force a reaction. It can also do stuff like modify your system settings. So even if you happen to deactivate this app, perhaps it will be able to turn itself back on. Now, I'm sure if you fully uninstall it, it won't have access to this stuff, but it seems like still that if you try to do something like turn off location data because you don't want a GPS tracking you with this app, it could, if it chooses to do so, return on GPS. This can do things that you specifically ask it not to do. It is just so crazy to me because this stuff is legal. They are allowed to do this. That's very much the problem with a lot of this app culture, as some people call it, is that your cell phone is really only yours as much as you're willing to participate with it. The only way to not allow this stuff to happen is to not interact with it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna probably buy like a super crappy, one of those like $20 prepaid phones that can install apps, and install my app on that, because I do not trust them. I'm probably even going to wait until November when I'm actually there for BlizzCon to activate it, and then once I'm inside, like maybe use that phone at the convention and then smash it afterward. I mean, not to be like Mr. FBI X-Files, but I still think that stuff like this absolutely cannot be trusted, and it does worry me. I mean, I'm somebody who takes a lot of pictures on my phone purely for personal use. Random selfies and stuff that to me are very, very important, but are just sentimental. I don't want to use them for videos. I don't even want to post them on Facebook or Twitter. They're literally just pictures to remind me of great times. I don't like the idea of an app, especially not one by Blizzard, that is basically charging me. I mean, it is so creepy, it is so across the line, and the worst part is that they're only doing it to their most hardcore fans. Like, that's the weird part about this, is that the most serious and focused and most driven Blizzard fans that are going there are the ones that are eating this up. What the heck is going on? But what do you think about it? If you've actually installed the app already, uninstall it now. If you can, restore your phone to a previous version. Make sure you do not have that cancer on your phone. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. If you can, please give this video a like, share it somewhere if you want to spread the word, and basically, do me a favor, just warn your friends. You don't even have to tweet this video at them. Just warn your friends about this app. This is insanity. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. Do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. My God, what a way to spend my Sunday. Well, happy birthday to me, I guess. Jesus. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.